Hi everyone, it's Babs with Listen to Your Inner You. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing and growing my channel. I just wanted to rant a little bit, right, about normal societies. Once we get into manifesting, we're learning about beliefs and habits and that we can influence our environment. And I'm saying influence because you're not creating it, it's already been created and you just pull it in and manifest it. If you look up the word manifest, then you actually know that the word manifest means to make something pretty much visible in your 3D. It doesn't mean that you're creating it, you're just kind of pulling it together. It's like a cloud already has all the things that exist to make a cloud, but then it manifests into a physical form. So that's all it means, and we don't create, we just automatically always manifest. And that's why I'm teaching you to change your habits and your beliefs, because the more positive beliefs and habits you have in place, the less you have to micromanage all the time and feel upset all the time about the shit that pushes out, right? So this video is just a little bit about how people in normal society, they say, oh, just don't feel bad, just don't react. You know, your power is how you react to someone. Well, but no one tells us that it's a lot harder to not react to something if you have negative beliefs and negative habits in place. I spent 2 years straight, okay, not straight, on and off, right? Things came up at a certain time. But I spent 2 years on and off working through very extreme core beliefs and very extreme core habits, because core beliefs cause habits. And they're just patterns that keep pushing out, and they're annoying, right? And no one tells you that you know, you have the power to react. Well, you know, you could be changing a lot of things, but there's still a habit in place that's still causing all these things. So if not everything is always a core belief, is what I'm trying to say. Often we have a ton of habits that cause these things, such as it was a mixture of my core beliefs and really bad habits that made my ex walk away a second time, and that hurt. And I changed all the core beliefs, and then I had to change the habits that created them walking away, because it was still happening with other people too. So not everything is a core belief. And the core beliefs that I teach are the very basic ones that most people at some point in their life have to work through. I've already had clients, I've had a bunch of clients who came to me saying, oh, I have core belief issues, but they didn't. And they just had some really bad habits that were pretty much as old as the core beliefs, because one created the other, right? So I'm like, your core beliefs are fine. You must have worked through them at some point in time. So that's kind of cool. And then they get to work through all those crappy habits that feel awful. Yoo-hoo. You know, there's habits such as having really high expectations, such as really low expectations, such as always beating yourself up or always focusing on the wrong thing. All of these things can make you feel really crappy, and they then create how we react to a normal life. Because we do have to react to the 3D. We cannot ignore it, because that is being in denial, and that is building up resistance and or attachment. So we want to work through these beliefs and habits one at a time, or 5 at a time if you catch them all at once, right? But usually they clear out and there's another one, and we never stop and it never ends, but it always makes us feel better and better. And certain ones cause a lot of anxiety or a lot of grief. So just take your time and things will come up. Trust your inner being, trust your higher you that it'll bring these up when it's time, or that you catch them and realize what's going on when it's time. Often people come to me for a certain reason, then I point something out, and that's the point where they're ready to work through it. Just like I had the same thing, you know. I was manifesting and I was coaching. I was being coached by Amy for a long time, and she kept bringing things up, but I didn't hear them because I wasn't ready to. We're always ready to learn certain things at a certain time, because we need to learn these lessons that they bring. So again, be patient with yourself if you can. Don't beat yourself up too hard. I used to beat myself up for beating myself up. I was the master of beating myself up and high expectations. I worked through a ton of crappy core beliefs, ton of crappy core patterns, habits. Again, the core beliefs that I teach you guys are just the 4 basic ones. I'm good enough, I'm more than enough, I'm worthy, I'm deserving. I do usually say, I'm validated and I'm independent, because they directly go towards the codependency that comes with the core beliefs. Pretty much everyone has it. It's normal. It comes with it. Don't worry about it. It's just another habit. Codependency is just a habit that you can kick too. Everything we do is habits. And habits are pretty much, from a programming point of your subconscious, it's the same process usually, or a similar process as core beliefs. It's all very similar. Sometimes the difference is with beliefs, you do affirmations. That's the only time I use affirmations. I'm not an affirmation coach. I do not support affirmations for manifesting. I don't believe they work. I tried them out for a whole year. I ended up miserable and frustrated and actually pushing my person away, and other people too. And I felt awful. So I don't ever promote them other than for changing beliefs. And then habits you change by, you could use affirmations sometimes, but usually it's just by breaking the habit over and over again, but you still go through the old energy and blah, 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 blah. So it's a very similar process. And the process of manifesting something or someone is actually very similar to that, because once you manifest correctly, focusing correctly, then you line everything else up and it automatically clears out. Resistance comes up easier and clears out easier, and attachment comes up easier and clears out easier. It's so much easier when you do step one of focusing right. And that is not usually by affirmations. I will tell you, affirmations do not work. That is my belief. I've tried them out. Again, they make me miserable. All of my clients come to me because they're so fed up. I get all the clients from other affirmation coaches. I'm not going to name names. You know who I mean. There's plenty of them out there. But they come to me and say, Babs, I don't ever want to do affirmations. They make me feel frustrated and upset, and they don't work. That's because usually they don't work. The only time that affirmations can work usually is when and that's helped with me, when you're making them more natural feeling and you actually feel the end with it. Then they can work. But if you're just cut and dry and constantly affirming over and over, then you're just staying attached and you're not producing results. You're expecting, and it's just a whole mess. And you want to take a break. You want to give yourself a break. If you manifest correctly, it actually feels good and natural, and it's actually fun, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be so serious and upset. And when you manifest properly, then you actually don't care about your 3D, because that clears out with resistance clearing out and attachment disappearing, right? Then you don't care about the 3D anymore, because you know you have it on the inside. Everything has its own timeline. Every manifestation has its own timeline. We do not control timing. What I wanted to get back to is that people always say, oh, don't react to it, right? But what no one tells us is that these habits and beliefs that we have in place, they actually cause us to react certain ways. So you have the subconscious programming in place that is causing you to react these certain ways. And you can't just stop reacting a certain way with the programming you have in place. So what you want to do is find the habit or the belief that is causing you to react in these particular situations. You can't just change. I can't just stop reacting a certain way. It doesn't work that way. Everyone always makes it look so easy. Just be happy. Just don't react. Just ignore it. I'm like, okay, I can't. What do I do if I can't do this, right? I was so frustrated for the longest time because I had all these crappy patterns playing out and me reacting to them, and I didn't know why until I learned how to turn these habits around that were causing my reaction. So we're usually a victim to our programming, but our programming also makes us a victim to other people. There are so many habits and beliefs that actually put us into a victim mode, and it's really uncomfortable. It makes people walk away. It makes us feel crappy. It makes everyone feel crappy. So that's why I'm here. I'm trying to teach you these things and how to get over them so you can actually feel better and have a better life and manifest anything you want to, because you deserve it. So my main thing is, I got into manifesting because of NSP, but I learned over time that really I just want to feel good. And when I feel better, I manifest easier too. That is just a fact. That's why I always start everyone out with the core beliefs. If you want to test your core beliefs, I'm good enough, I'm more than enough, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, start doing them for a couple days. If you just feel a little bit blah, then they're not off. If you feel horrible, you're on point. That's how you test core beliefs, or any belief. But you can also just feel shitty if you can have the core beliefs in place and just feel sometimes like you're not good enough. And that's a thing, because it's an emotion, and that's just accept it. Emotions need to be accepted. That's all they want. It's like, hey, acknowledge me, I'm here. And then they go away usually. And they can actually push out into reality if you don't acknowledge them. They can keep pushing out like a core belief. but they're just an emotion. That's odd. Oy, oy, oy. But again, if you have certain programming in place, you are subject to being a victim to that programming, and you don't have a choice but to react a certain way or to be a certain way. So you want to find these beliefs that will change how you react. That's why it's good to start with the core beliefs and then go from there and change all these other habits. We actually have a lot more bad habits than bad core beliefs. We don't tend to have a lot of crappy core beliefs. I just teach the very basic ones that pretty much everyone has to work through at some point in their life. But there could be a couple other ones. But for me, most of my core issues were core habits that were caused by the core beliefs. And we have tons of habits. And it's okay to have them because then we don't have to constantly micromanage, right? That is the point of having these habits. But you want them to be as positive, as many as positive as you can. So if you're reacting a certain way and you feel like you constantly are reacting the same way and you can't control it, it's because of some programming you have in your subconscious. So let's change it. Call me up. Book a session and I can help you through it. I cannot do it on here. You guys can ask me all these questions. I'm going to tell you guys more and more that you need to book a session because it's different for every person. Anyway, have a wonderful day. I hope this helped just a little bit.